What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Buchanan Motorsports, and boy, oh boy, I can't catch a break. Just got the motor swapped out in this truck, and we've got a new issue. We're fixing to jump in the old F350. We're gonna burn it down to Freeport, Texas, a little over an hour from here, and gonna go look at a part, and then I'll bring you along as we go, and then kind of let you in on what we got going on. But here we go. All right, guys, so we're on the road. We're headed down to Freeport, Texas. We're gonna pick up some parts at this point. I don't know if I end up using them or not, but we'll pick up some parts. We're looking for a new G80 to go in the rear end of the Sierra. Yeah, I know, G80. They're problems, but that's what we got right now, and I'm trying to figure out the quickest solution to get the truck back on the road temporarily so that I can get the proper parts ordered. I don't want to have to rush around and try to piece something together. So I'm either, like I said, we're going to look at the Yukon Duragrip, I guess, and then obviously the True Track would be my ultimate solution, but I don't want to just do that. If I'm doing all this, I'd really like to do a gear change. Right now it's got a 373 in it. I'd like to do I'd like to go back to a 390 like I had in a old 2002 model. The 390 really seemed to get that bottom end. I guess the lack of bottom end on these LSs kind of get it up out of the hole a bit better. I think it'll work pretty good with the stall we have, and kind of fill in some of that gap there. But anyway, we're gonna get down here. We're gonna at least pick up this new center carrier. I'm getting it super cheap. I'm not spending a bunch of money on this. If I don't use it, I'm not really out anything. The guy was basically gonna scrap it. He put a Yukon in for a customer.
Use the right two lanes.
Oh, sorry about that. He put a Yukon in for a customer, and so this was just something he had laying around, so I basically get it for a whole lot of nothing. So like I said, I know what they are. They're issues, but it's an issue we got to kind of deal with at this point and try to make the best out of it. So follow along with us. We'll get this thing picked up. I'm probably not going to film in this guy's backyard. Some people are weird about that kind of stuff, so we'll probably pick it back up on the way home. Appreciate you guys watching. If you ain't, liked and subscribed, try to do that for us. We got a whole bunch of people interacting with us in the comments. That's pretty cool. I like to shoot the crap with a bunch of people. So shoot us a comment and let us know what you're working on. If you like what we're doing. Obviously, I don't have an endless budget, so there's that. But I do the best with what I got. So. I feel like that relates to a lot of normal people. I know we see a lot of different things on Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff, where these big shops are spending, well, I don't know that they're really spending that much. They're being gifted a whole bunch of parts to influence us to, use those parts. So I don't know how much is actually coming out of their pockets. I'm sure there is some expense to it, but we're not one of those channels. So, we're regular people doing best with what we got. So appreciate you guys again. I'll pick it back up here shortly. All right, guys, we're back on the road. We're headed back to Houston. We got our G80. We're gonna get it home, get it all cleaned up. I can see exactly what we're working with. Met a pretty cool guy, Omar, down in Freeport. Appreciate you. He hooked us up on this new unit. So he took it out of a customer's truck. He was putting a Yukon in it. Like I said earlier, it may be one of our options. We'll just see. But anyway, we're gonna get back to the house. Is probably where I'm gonna pick that up, pick the video up, so that we get ready to pull this differential cover on the Sierra, see exactly what we're working with, and formulate a plan from there. So I don't really know what else to do. It's kind of hard to make a plan when you don't know exactly what you're working with. So let's pick it back up at the house. All right, guys, we're back at the house. We've got the parts we need, potentially need, don't know if we need. I don't know where we're at yet. We ain't got this thing tore apart, but this is what we went and got down in Freeport. We've got a basically a stock G80 unit. Still got the ring, got the pinion here. I don't think we're going to use that, but if we do need it for some reason, it's there. We're going to verify the gear ratio on that. They said it was a 373, but we'll verify all that with the numbers. But anyway, we're going to get this out. We're going to get this cleaned up. Make sure that what we picked up checks out. I looked it over before I, paid the guy, obviously, but we're going to look it over anyway. And then we're going to get ready to get that thing up on some stands. Probably drop the spare tire out from underneath it so I ain't got to wrestle around with it. And get it up high enough where I can get my big old rear end underneath it. So we'll pull the cover off of it, drain the gear oil out of it, and then we'll go from there. So that's what we're doing. All right, guys, we've got the ring and pinion and the carrier all cleaned up. Just nothing crazy, just a quick cleanup, some brake clean. I wasn't buying it for the ring and pinion, but again, the gentleman said it was a 373, but I looked in the glove box of the truck that it came out of, and it was a it was a GU5, which is a 323. So I told him that, apparently somebody had been in there before if it was a 373, and he said, well, that would make more sense. But I did go ahead and verify that it is a 323, not a 373. And I wanted to show you how to do that real quick, just a down and dirty, a quick little way to do it. What I go ahead and do is put a mark right here on one of the teeth for the pinion gear. And then I go around and I start with that mark and I go around and count the teeth all the way around. In this case, it was 13 on the pinion. Usually a 373 will have 11, just so that's the first clue right there. And then I come over here and do the exact same thing on the ring. Is I mark one of the teeth and I go around and I count all the way around, stopping at obviously before I get to the one I've already marked. So in this case, there was 42. So if you take the 42 teeth on the ring, divide it by the 13 that was on the pinion, that gives us a 323. So what's a little bit strange about this scenario is that the truck did not have a G80 code in the RPO in the glove box. So very likely that somebody took a G80 unit out of a posi or limited slip truck and put it in with the stock 323 gears. So again, I'm not buying it for the ring and pinion. I've already got a 373 in the truck. I bought this just as insurance, maybe parts and pieces. If I find something easy that's fixable in our truck over there, if I happen to have the part right here real quick, I can change it, then I'll do that. And then we'll work on getting the possibly a 390 ring and pinion with a better posi setup, get rid of this G80 stuff. But anyway, I just want to show you real quick how you can determine your gear ratio pretty down and dirty. Like, again, I wasn't worried about it there, so I didn't bother taking the time to mark it and count all that stuff and do all that while I was there. So anyway, we're going to get the truck, like I said, up on jack stands and get that spare tire out from underneath it, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, we got it up on some stands. Again, we're just going to take a peek, see what we got going on, go from there. Went ahead and got the spare tire out of the way. Went ahead and just left the cable out, tucked it up top. Hopefully that doesn't come back to smack me in the back of the head. All right, so thing to keep in mind when you're going to separate the differential cover from the housing is using something that's not
It's got some rounded edges. This is an old screwdriver. Leave a couple bolts in there, and don't gouge into the face. That could cause you some sealing issues later on. Just take it nice and easy. Keep everything nice and flat. Oh, is that metal that just fell out of there? Well, that ain't good right there. I heard that hit the pan. And that is a corner off something. Yeah. So we definitely got some discovery to do in there, because a piece of metal falling out of there is not good. Oh, yeah. Well, let me get you in here real quick, like. Clean my hands up so I don't get my camera all jacked up. All right. Hopefully you can see that. There is a something on that magnet, and it ain't looking pretty. So let's see if I can get that propped up. That is a lot of material. That's a corner off a tooth somewhere. So let me get my hands cleaned up. Let me get some of this stuff cleaned up, and we'll try to figure out where the problem is. All right, so let's find out together. Let's find out where that metal came from. I'm just hoping it didn't come off the ring and pinion. It looked more like a spider gear to me. Well, it didn't come off the ring. All right, see if you can see those teeth on the pinion. Hopefully you can see that. I know they can be kind of blurry sometimes. I don't see any missing teeth on the pinion or the ring. So I got to do a little bit more inspection on the spider gear. And I'll bring y'all back in when I find where it came from. All right, guys, I don't know if you can see way up in here, tip of my screwdriver, there is a little chunk missing off that upper spider gear. All right, a couple teeth over from where we were a while ago. That one right there is in pretty bad shape for whatever reason. It is not real happy. Like I said, I don't know how well this is going to come across on camera, but we got some damage to the top, bottom, and this right hand spider gear. The right hand spider gear, I thought the top one was kind of bad, but the right one's completely missing a tooth. So it looks like one of them broke off and rattled around in there until it didn't. And that's why we've got some excess of metal wear in the on the magnet. Now we got some decisions to make. So, all right, here's our next step. We got the wheel off. We've got to get the pads compressed. I'm just going to try to take the bracket and the caliper all off in one and just set it up here. We'll take the rotor off, and then we will have our axle free from all the obstructions to be able to slide it out once we undo our C-clips under there. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Get this. I just got a simple C-clamp. I usually just take right here on the back side. I'll just run that in and compress those that caliper piston using the brakes that are already on there, and then we'll pull the rest of it apart. $18mm on the back side. I've already got them kind of loosened up, so that shouldn't be a problem. Again, these are the two main bracket bolts, not the actual bolts that go to the caliper. So you don't be confused with that. You can take the bracket and the caliper all off in one unit. So, all right, second 18 millimeter. So with our pads compressed, we should be able to take this bracket and the caliper all in one unit, set it up here out of the way, tucks it up out of the way, nice and easy. Our rotor comes off, and this gives us the access we need to be able to undo the C-clips on the inside once we get the carrier kind of in position. And we'll push the axle in just a little bit, and then we will take the C-clip out, and then we'll slide the axle out enough to be able to get the carrier out. But we've got the, again, the rotors, calipers, brackets, tires, all that stuff free and clear of both sides. We've got our carrier rotated around so I can get to the carrier bolt. Let's take our 8 millimeter, work this out so we can get the center pin right here. We'll get that slid out. All right, we've got our center pin out. Sometimes people have issues with these breaking. Luckily, it's not an issue for us today. Thank the good Lord. We're going to get hopefully our hand back around here on maybe the back side and be able to push this pin out. All right, so that's how easy the pin should come out. All right, now that we got our center pin, we're going to go over there. We're going to rotate this around where it's a little bit easier and get the C-clips out, get the magnet, and then we will take our 4 cap bolts off, dump this carrier out, get it over the bench. All right, guys, so I'm just watching my little windows there on my carrier, and I'm going to spin this around until I can see that we're pretty good there, and I should be able to get my C-clips out. I'm going to take my axle, push that in. So it's just a little bit of play, guys. It's just literally just, that's the only thing holding these axle in is that C-clip that's on the inside. We got our magnet. We'll get in there. We'll take that apart and get the axle pulled out on either side. All right, we got our axles slid in. We got our magnet on the C-clip up in there. We're going to slide it out nice and gentle. Sometimes these things literally fall out when you rotate them around if that axle's pushed in. So that's it. That's the only thing holding that axle in. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Hopefully maybe you can see up in there. Right about where my fingertip is, the end of my fingertip is where you see it super nice and shiny up in there. Let me get that light back around here. You can see right where that C-clip rides, right in there to the right-hand side of that spider gear. So let's set this back up, but let me slide this axle out. Let me see if we can watch it. If I can do it with one foot. There it goes. Axle delete. So the axle is now slid out, and do the same thing to the other side. See how that axle slides in and out? Hopefully you can see that up in there. I'm literally moving that thing an inch. So that is looking good. So let's get these cap bolts off. Let's get this thing out of here. What I'm probably going to do before I do that is take an opportunity, since I'm all set up right here and this is dripping, I'm going to go ahead and spray some of my brake cleaner up in there, kind of clean some of this out. We're probably going to find some material up in there that we're going to have to get out of there too, so we've got some cleanup to do. Okay, guys, set up here, 16 millimeters, one on each cap. We'll loosen up some of the tension on it. One thing you want to do before you get too crazy here is be ready to catch this. Sometimes you got to force it out of there. I've seen it where they want to just fall out. So just be ready for anything. And then when they do come out, try to get your shims and try to keep your shims separated to the side. That way you have a little bit better chance of when you go back together being closer to set your preload. If you don't know how to do all that, there's a whole bunch of videos out there on that. I don't have anything. On the first time we'd done something similar to this, so you're just gonna have to do a little bit of research on that one. Maybe we can touch on it a little bit once we go back together. But also something worth mentioning as well, make sure that you keep these caps on the proper side. It does make a difference. So mark them. A lot of people like to mark them. You can do that as well. Not an issue. Just have an idea of how these go. I've already marked these previously. We had this open the first time. So yeah, see, that thing just wanted to come right out. So what I like to do is hold this right here on either end. This holds my bearing races and my my shims together. And there it's out. So give me just a minute to kind of get sorted out here, and then I'll get right back with you. All right, so I got this kind of brake cleaned out just real quickly, kind of soaked up some of the remaining fluid and brake clean. Just a good time to inspect your housing, inspect your pinion a little bit better, and just, you're gonna have to clean everything out because you've had particles and pieces floating around in here. So we're gonna have to clean from the axle tubes. I usually clean from the axle tube out at the caliper back to the housing, and then make sure all that's nice and clear, free of debris. Also, guys, wanted to note another step I like to do whenever I'm trying to clean one of these axle tubes out is I go ahead and basically take my jack, and in this case I put a little bit of wood up underneath there to just barely get this up off the jack stand and get a downhill angle towards my differential center. Try to get that down angle so that way like I said, any of the contaminants, any of the liquid run back to where we can drain them out and not into our axle bearings over here. So just trying to do anything that we can. You see down in there, hopefully you can see that there's a little bit of fluid still down in there, so that should start working its way back towards that pumpkin. All right, guys, so what I've done was take some old t-shirt rags and stuff them in there. I've got a 3/8 drive a bunch of extensions pushed together. We're just going to push this straight through. That's a pretty tight fit. It's got quite a bit of resistance. We're going to push that all the way through until we see it come out the other side. And there it is. You can see it over there pop out. And then we'll spray it out one more time, blow it out with air, and we'll call that good. All right, again, this may be blurry. But I want to show you real quick what that axle tube is looking like. You can see a little bit of liquid still on the other side, some gear oil, but this particular tube on this side looks clean. We actually did get some fragments out of there, so I'm real happy about getting all that out of there. So again, we're going to spray this down one more time, blow it out with air, dry it all out, and we'll be clean on this side. All right, these are the parts and pieces we found in our differential housing when we cleaned it out, so that's never a good sign. Again, I showed you some of the carnage on the inside of this. This is our parts unit. I looked at it. Everything on the inside looks beautiful. Again, this just came out of a truck, another single cab, exactly like what we have, except for they thought they were running a 373, and it's actually a 323. I explained that a while ago. So I think to get us back on the road quicker, and unfortunately still keep this gov lock situation, I'm going to swap out the ring gear on these two, and I'm going to run it, and I'm going to see what happens. For the money I got in this and the little bit of effort it takes to do all this, I'm going to try it. If not, we're going to be $1,000 probably into what I really want to do to that rear end the other way. So, I mean, it's worth a shot. All right, guys, just a real quick note. I got these two ring gears pulled off. We're going to get them swapped. Get the 373 ring gear on the new G80. One thing I want to note real quick, these are left-hand thread. If you go to loosen them up, as you would traditionally do, they are actually being tightened if you use the normal righty-tighty, lefty-loosey method. So left-hand thread, don't cause yourself any more problems than you need. Again, just wanted to throw that in there real quick. We're going to get these swapped out, get everything cleaned up, get it all mated back up, torqued back down, and hopefully we're going back together here soon. All right, guys, wanted to bring you back in real quick, just let you see that we are 100% clean. Everything has been inspected and blown out from end to end, back and forth, making sure we have no remnants of any metal that was left in here. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. We do need to still get a gasket from when we get ready to go back with the cover. Just to let you know, I'm going to start with when I go back with this different carrier, I'm going to start with the shims that it had in it. And then I'll get our dial indicator, check our backlash, and see where we're at. Just a note, when I did this previously, I had marked the caps. So those caps have to go back on the exact same side. All right, guys, I got my caps, my shims, and my races laid out right here. Got my light positioned up in there. If you ain't got one of those DeWalt lights right there, those are really nice. All right, anyway, fixing to get the carrier under here, do a dry fit. We're going to check the preload backlash on it and see where we're at as far as how close we are as far as shims. If we're pretty close, then we'll run a gear pattern on it. All right, guys, I took my shims that were originally in the first carrier. I went right back with them. I put these 16 millimeters to 55 foot-pounds on both sides, and I got my dial indicator up here, and we're at like right at 9.5 to 10 thousandths on the so I'm close enough there. I'm gonna run a gear mesh pattern or a gear pattern on this. Let's run this through here a couple times. I'm praying that this all goes well so I don't have to pull that pinion gear and start over with that. Let me let's try to put a little bit more on there so I can get a little bit more definitive gear pattern here. All right, guys, so here's the deal. I got extremely lucky with using the shims that came out of the old carrier on just the way they were, just the way it came out. The pattern's looking good. I went ahead and set up my dial indicator one more time. I took it off, readjusted it, did it again, and I was coming up with 8 thousandths on the backlash. So the first time I was right around 9.5, pushing 10. Again, set it up, readjusted it a couple times, and came up with 8, 7.5 to 8. So we're gonna run with that. I'm not gonna try to split hairs and get that down to 6 thousandths or whatever. I'm okay with the pattern. The pattern looks good. I'm gonna get all this stuff sprayed off, clean this off one more time, get all that cleaned up, and then we're gonna stick the axles in here. All right, so I know the lighting out here is atrocious right now, but I wanted to bring you in here so when we put these axles in, that I always try to put a little bit of lubricant around this larger portion right here. You can see where it kind of tapers up right in here in this portion, and it starts to get into that seal. Be very mindful when you're putting this axle back in here, you don't drag it across your seal real bad and tear it up before you ever even get it in there. So this is a little bit more difficult with just one hand, but just, if you give it a little bit of something to make it slide a little easier, less chance that you're gonna tear something up as you go in. So sorry, I know this, like I said, the lighting's horrible, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And we're in one of those situations. We're just we're making it happen, and it happens to be at night. So All right, so you may have to pick up on it just a little bit to get it to go. Once you get it in there, nice and easy, push it all the way in. We'll go in there, we'll install our C-clip on the differential carrier, and then what we'll do is we'll come out here and just pull it out until that C-clip stops it and retains it. All right, guys, we got both axles in. Hopefully, I'm trying to give you some light down in there so you can see what it looks like whenever you get both of those in there. So our C-clips will go right, one on that side and one on that side. All right, so here's how I play this. Got my magnet, C-clip. Basically, you get that axle up there, get the carrier rotated around in the right manner, and you simply guide that in. I take my finger to kind of hold it in place. I'm going to take my foot, and I'm going to push out on that axle, and I'm going to try to show you how it locks in. Hopefully you can see that right there at the end of my finger, how it locked in. So let's see if I can push it back. There you go. There, that axle is locked in. I'm going to do the same thing on the driver's side. No need to show you twice. Looking good. Pin can only go in one way. This is what holds the axles from being able to push inward and the C-clips falling out and you losing an axle going down the road. So this is an important part of the puzzle. We'll gently work this into place. This may take a little bit of a finagling sometimes to kind of get everything lined back up. A little bit of massaging. Oh, went a little too far. If you go a little too far in, rotate it back around, get your hand on the back side and flush it up right there. So once you're flushed up, make sure you're pretty even front to back. And then this is your retainer. Make sure that you're dead on. There we go. So now we got some positive engagement there. We will try to start it with our hand. This thing really kind of stinks because there's not a whole lot of, you can't get a ton of tools on it. And once you get it up on there a little further, it's so tight in there that kind of a pain. What I want to do also is I'll throw a little bit of Loctite on it real quick. I'll do that. Let me cut, and then I will throw some Loctite on it. We'll cinch this thing back up. That's a wrap on this carrier. All right, guys, we went ahead and took our 3/8 drive plug out of the side. You can really just use a 3/8 drive ratchet. And we're getting ready to put our fluid in. I'm sure we're fixing to make a mess out of it, but hey, it is what it is. I got me a towel down here on the ground. Luckily, these ain't too bad to try to get fluid into. Some of them are absolutely atrocious. So this calls for 2.1 quarts, I believe. So we're going to add the one full one. We're going to add our, man, thing's kind of being inappropriate. We're going to add our limited slip go-go juice. If you have a limited slip, guys, you got to add some friction modifier basically into the mix. Makes everything a little bit more slick. Make sure I get all that junk in there. All right, so that's in there. So again, that's going to account for some of our fluid capacity. So we're going to get ready to add the second one. As we get close to the second one, we're going to take and slow down a little bit. All right, that's all we got. That's all we can do. So I'm gonna button that up. I also want to mention that anytime you have your brakes apart, take the opportunity to inspect your pads, inspect your rotors, all that good stuff. Try to catch something before it catches you. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, we've got our fluid in there. So technically, we can put our wheels back on this thing and set it back on the ground. All right, she's back on the ground. Everything's hooked back up, ready to go out for a little test rip. I may catch us back up in the morning and give you a final closeout once we know we're good. All right, guys, it is the next morning. We took this truck out for a rip last night. Everything did great, functioned flawlessly. Went out again this morning, just a little, 4 or 5 mile little round trip. No noises, no complaints. Everything is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we're thankful for that. Luckily, it wasn't too costly of a fix, more or less just a bunch of time. But it is what it is, It gave me something to, I guess, make a video about. But next time, we're hoping to do this when we want to do it and how we want to do it instead of trying to just get it back on the road. But we appreciate everybody watching, everybody subscribing. If you ain't subscribed, think about hitting that subscribe button for us. It's definitely helping our channel out, getting all of our stuff out there. We appreciate everybody. Y'all take it easy.